If you like your gravel race bikes to have clearance for mountain bike tyres, then this last month will have been a very good one for you, with not just one, but 2 new releases to choose from.
Yeah, we've got both this 3T Exploro Ultra and this Lauf Seigla, which both have oodles of space for fat rubber, but which one would you choose? We're here to find out.
Now Jamie, tyre clearance is the headline selling point to both of these bikes, but which one actually has the most space? Well, the Lauf is set up for pure 700C wheels, and on those you can fit 57mm tyres or 2.25 inches for you 29er mountain bike lovers.
The Exploro Ultra meanwhile tops out just 46mm on 700C wheels, which is actually pretty average for new gravel bikes. The saviour is of course that the chainstay and forks are designed for 650mm wheels, and on that you can fit 61mm rubber, which is pretty hefty.
Even though that means that you'll have to have a separate wheel set to take advantage of the 3T's extra space. So we're even going to give this round, to the Seigla. I think the skinny solid plate really does win there.
Geometry can be a bit boring, so I think we'll keep this one brief. Comparing both in a size medium, and you'll find that the Seigla has a 10mm longer reach. That means that you can run a shorter stem, and that keeps the steering lively. Both have head tube angles within ½ a degree, so not much to split them there. And the seat tube angles is also within a degree. The 3T is actually slightly steeper at 73.5 degrees. That does make it feel like it's got a slightly racier position as you're more over the pedals.
We do find a significant difference when it comes to the wheelbase. In the size medium, the Lauf's is 1040mm, that's 28mm longer than the Exploros. You would expect this to mean that 3T feels a bit more agile on the twisty stuff, but actually the Lauf's short and straight chainstays means that it also behaves admirably.
Another significant difference comes with the BB drop. 77mm on the Exploro versus 65 on the Seigla. That gives the impression that you're sat more in the Exploro and more on top of the Seigla. Both have the pros and cons. The Exploro corners very confidently, but then the Seigla's got more ground clearance.
3C have gone ahead and said that they think that adding suspension would make the bike less fun, and that if you need it, then you should use a mountain bike. And I do kind of agree with that. Why bother putting, massive tyres on a gravel bike?
For me, I don't want to buy 2 bikes. Not when they're doing similar jobs anyway. Besides, some of the gravel around here is pretty ferocious.
It is.
Not this stuff.
Yeah.
In both uses, high profile tyres is going to make it a lot more comfortable. But the Lauf goes one step further with this rather radical looking fork.
Now, whether you like the aesthetics of that fork is a whole different issue, but we have been very impressed with its performance. It offers just under 30mm of travel, which does save your wrists on long rides, and you still find that bike pretty fun, don't you?
Yeah, it really does do a good job of dealing with the high frequency vibrations on dirt roads. But it's obviously not a huge amount of travel, so you are going to still feel the big hits. And if you're not convinced, then Lauf offer this bike in a rigid version.
The 3T has fender mounts, so that's great if you want to add mud guards. It can also take a wired dropper post to help you navigate tricky descents if you need to, and in fairness, you could actually fit a wired one to the Lauf, who also say that you could route one round the long way, but I think 3T has the neater solution.
However, the routing on the top tube of that 3T is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
There's no fork mounts on either, so if you want a bike to do heavy bike packing, then neither of these are going to be the one for you. But they do both get threaded bottom brackets, and that makes us very happy. Both have drop seat stays to aid rear compliance, and the Exploro has tube shapes specifically designed to be aero with fat tyres. However, we don't have a wind tunnel, so you're just going to have to take their word for it.
This one is a little bit tricky as 3T hasn't actually published a frame set weight at this point in time. Luckily for you, we have done some digging. It's likely to weigh very similar to the Race Max frame, between 1050 and 1150 grams. We'd predict at the upper end of that probably, and Lauf thankfully has published a figure, 1163. including all of the hardware. So it's going to be a bit of a split between these, isn't it?
It is. With the Exploro Ultra, we've got a choice of 5 colours, or actually 6 if you include the out of stock Crank Brothers Special Edition. There's this racing green one that we have here, an understated black and glossy, an out there copper, a steel blue, or completely naked. I have to say, I'm a big fan of this green. It really pops in the sun. The Lauf, you've got just 4 colours to choose from, each inspired by Lauf's home country of Iceland. There's this moss campion pink, which is a flower that grows in the Highlands.
Very nice.
There's a black that we assume represents the lava rock, a glacial white, and a sulphur blue. It's blue.
It's blue. It is worth noting that the rigid bikes on the Lauf are only available in white or black, and everything other than black does cost a premium.
Obviously, paint jobs will just come down to personal taste, but there are more options with the 3T, and it's less restrictive with the price and things. So we're going to give it to that one.
Yeah.
Let us know which bike you'd choose and in which colour, if money was no object.
Most of us in the real world do have to think about price. Essentially, the Exploro Ultra is already available as a frame set, £2,899. The Seigla is expected to be offered as a frame set, they just haven't put it on their website yet. It does make it slightly hard to draw conclusions, but what we can fairly safely say is that the Seigla is going to be cheaper. For the same price as the 3T frame set, you'll soon be able to order a fully built bike with rival access, well, for the same price.
A comparable SRAM Force AXS build will set you back nearly 6,200 quid for the 3T, whereas for the Lauf, it's under 4.5, even with the more expensive fork and in the most expensive colours.
Yeesh. So, Jamie, which one of these, if either, is the best gravel bike of 2022?
I'm a big fan of this Lauf Seigla. It's really versatile, like I'm considering selling my mountain bike, and also it's pretty good value for a new bike.
I would say that if you've got the roads to ride this on, the 3T makes a whole lot of sense. Aero and gravel? Yeah, why not? It is a brilliant bike to ride, you've just got to have really deep pockets. Well, both of these are brilliant gravel race bikes, and we took a look at another gravel race bike, the Specialized S-Works Crux. That's going to be more expensive than either of these two.
And lighter.
But it's lighter. There's also the Cotic that Matt rode. There's a video popping up for that if adventure riding is more your thing. We'll see you in the next one. Remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.